Welcome to the Modus Operandi podcast, where we talk about our mode of operation, our mindset, and the things that we've been through, the experiences that we've had in our lives that have helped us shift our paradigm, change our mindset, change our actions, and change the results in our life, right? Which has led us to progress and the accomplishment of our goals. So today, we're going to talk about my experience on recruiting duty, and this might help those of you who are considering going on an SDA, which is a special duty assignment in the Marine Corps, and you're kind of stuck between whether to go, drill instructor or recruiter, and also just to give you a little bit of insight on the things that you might experience, and how they can help you out later on in life, and also give you some of the things that maybe I've did wrong throughout that time that led me to perhaps not be as successful as I could have been. But just to give you a little bit of insight, I have been a recruiter twice now, once 2017 to 2020, and currently I am serving on the duty again. And I could tell you that it was a huge paradigm shift for me. And what that really means is that you have to change the way that you look at things as far as the Marine Corps. So by the time I went out on recruiting duty for the first time, I was 7 years deep in the Marine Corps, and I got HISted. Now, what that really means, for those of you that are watching and don't know what that means, it means that the Marine Corps voluntold me to go on a special duty assignment, and they selected me to go on recruiting duty. Now, did I want to do that? Not necessarily, but also I sat on my hands for too long, and the Marine Corps made a decision for me because I didn't make it for myself. So that was the first lesson that I learned. Make the decision for yourself, or life will make it for you. But realistically, it was a blessing in disguise because up until that point, I hadn't done much else in my career, in my military career, and recruiting duty really opened the door to me as far as the things that I knew about myself, which then led me to have a deeper sense of belief and build a new sense of confidence in other areas that I had not developed yet as a man. And the areas where I know I developed in the most were definitely in my leadership skills and also in business, and also learning a little bit about sales, right? Because I think that the Marine Corps structure kind of hinders us sometimes because it's like a safety net. It protects us, right? So, there's a lot of people in the Marine Corps that they're leaders, they're maybe up there in the higher echelons, and they're considered to be good, but they're really good because they have good Marines, right? So maybe they're not really good leaders, but they just have really good Marines that serve under them, and so they delegate everything to them. And because of the way the Marine Corps is structured, when somebody of a high rank tells you to do something, you do it. And obviously, a Marine, you want to do it to the best of your ability. So now what you're really doing is you are making that individual look good, which is why a lot of times in the Marine Corps, you see the higher echelons get awards that were earned on the backs of their Marines. So what I learned about leadership, actually, I learned the most about leadership out on recruiting duty, because what I learned, the biggest aspect of leadership is being able to inspire somebody to do more and be more. And really what that comes down to is, do they want to be like you? And really what that breaks down further into is, do you want to be like you? Would you follow you? Do you inspire you? What are you doing with your life that makes you a successful person? What are you doing in your life that makes you an attractive person? Because what a lot of people don't realize, what I didn't know about success, was that it's something that you attract. It's not something that you work up to. And in order to attract success, you have to become a successful person. And success doesn't always necessarily, let's just say, fall on your lap, but it becomes something that is a part of your life because of who you are and not because of what you do. And so I learned that the Marine Corps doesn't really teach you how to lead. It teaches you how to manage more than it teaches you how to lead. And so what I had to develop in myself the most when I came out here on recruiting duty for the first time was my ability to lead and inspire people. And which is kind of crazy because at the time I had already been in the Marine Corps for 7 years, and I was a sergeant at the time, so I thought I was a good leader, you know. But I learned very quickly that maybe I wasn't as good as I thought, and so I had to change some things, right? And so mindset is the first thing that has to change, because you also have to understand that out here on recruiting duty, you are on commission. You know, I consider it being on commission. Now you might say, well, what do you mean, man? It's not like they pay you, you know, a certain amount of money per contract. That's true. They don't. You still get paid the same, but what you're on commission based on time off, right? In the Marine Corps, everybody's on salary. You get the same time off. It doesn't matter, you know, it doesn't matter if you work hard or if you don't work hard. Guess what? You know, if your unit gets a 72, you get a 72. Everybody gets a 72. If you get a 96, everybody gets a 96. Doesn't matter if you're the shit bag in the shop, or, you know, at the office, or, you know, in the platoon or whatever, or if you're the dude that works the hardest, bro. You're going to get the same amount of time off. On recruiting duty, it's results based. And so you're on commission. You get as much time off as the results that you produce. So if you're not writing contracts, guess what? You don't get time off. And I think that's why a lot of people don't like it, is because they have to make that mindset shift and that adjustment where now you can't hide. And I think the reason why it bothers so many people and why they don't want to come out here is because it's very exposing, you know, because a lot of us, when we come out here, you know, we're sergeants, staff sergeants, maybe even a gunny, and you're considered the subject matter expert in your MOS, right? And now you're coming out here and you don't know much. And what's really tested is your character, your ability to communicate, lead, and inspire. And let me tell you something, man. If as a gunnery sergeant or a staff sergeant or a sergeant, NCO or staff NCO, you come out here and you can't do well, well, man, what does that really say about your performance or how you were getting by in the Fleet Marine Corps? Anyways, so learning how to inspire people, learning how to lead started with learning how to lead and inspire myself. And so I will tell you that being out here, one of the things that I had the opportunity to do more than not was fail. You know, I failed. You failed a lot. You get a lot more no's and you get yeses, and well, you learn from those things, right? And so I think that one of the things that recruiting duty taught me was, it taught me that I shouldn't be afraid of failure, because the more failure I experienced, the more no's I got, the better I got at getting people to say yes. Now, that's not saying that I learned how to be more manipulative, but that's saying that I learned how to learn more about people, connect more with individuals, and then know what really was going to inspire them to make a change in their life. Because what a lot of people don't realize is that nothing changes in your life unless you change first. And I think that's a misconception that we all have, where we look at our external world and we see the things that we have around us, and we have a tendency to want to change those things first. And it's the most frustrating thing that you can try to do, because you realize very quickly how hard it is to change the external when the first place you should go if you want to change is go internal. And so having the opportunity to fail on a daily also gave me the opportunity to reflect on those failures on a daily and then make adjustments on a daily, which then led me to have better results and more success. And so I learned very quickly that that was a part of this business. And I also learned very quickly the concept of nobody cares about what you did yesterday. You know, you can't hang on your laurels, because all that stuff is in the past. It's no longer relevant. And so it was always about, hey, good job. What you got going up next week, or what you got for tomorrow. And if you didn't have results, then guess what, man? Then you really didn't put that day to use. And that's something that actually, a lot of people don't like that. But for me, it was very eye opening, and it was also very comforting, and relieving, because I was like, wait a second. You're saying that if I work hard every day, I can get the results and I can reap the reward and the fruits of my labor? Bro, it was the best thing ever, right? Now, it did, however, get very taxing, because the first time I came out, I had very shitty habits. I drank. I womanized. And I was inconsistent in showing up for me. And what I mean by that is taking care of myself, man. Going to the gym. There was no order to my life. Or I guess you could say that my life was in the wrong order, because I would show up for myself last. And that obviously led me to develop some very negative emotions about this duty and about the people that I served with, because I showed up for them first before showing up for me. And so that is also something that I learned throughout my time on recruiting duty. Was like the first person that you need to show up for is yourself. Because if you can't show up for yourself, then how are you supposed to show up for other people? You show up as less than who you truly are, or less than you should, or less than you can be. And then, you can only give people as much as you develop. And so if you stop developing, then you cap the potential on what you can actually give people. So that was a very important lesson that I learned, probably too late, because a lot of these lessons I didn't learn while I was out here the first time. I learned them in my reflection through the 3 years that I spent in the fleet afterwards. And that led to, the decision of me coming back to recruiting duty, which a lot of people would probably think that I was crazy for doing that, because a lot of people try to avoid it, and I'm trying to volunteer again. And so I came back because I wanted to prove a point. I wanted to prove a point, mainly to myself, but also to the people that were out here for the first time, to let them know that it's really all about mindset, man. It's all about mindset, because the first time I came out here, I did pretty good, but I had a shitty time. I was also going through some very personal things at the time, having to do with relationships, but I handled those things through the wrong outlets. And by the wrong outlets, I mean alcohol. When I could have handled them through healthier outlets, where I could have maybe transmuted those emotions and that energy into something that was going to positively affect me, instead of continue to bring me down into a rut that eventually emotionally broke me, and led me to become a person that I didn't even recognize. And so I will tell you that that's the most important thing about being out here, especially because you're out here for 3 years. If you neglect yourself every day for 3 years, you're going to change a lot. And you probably won't recognize who you are after 3 years. But if you can keep in mind that the first person you need to show up for every day is you in 3 years, with all the things that you learn out here, You can be a completely different person in a positive way. And whether you choose to go back to the fleet or not, that can impact your life in a major way, because now you have greater communication skills. You know things about business and sales and marketing, and you had the opportunity to network. And so if you've ever wanted to start a business, become an entrepreneur, or even move on to bigger and better things outside of the Marine Corps, these are skills that you get to develop on the Marine Corps' dime through servitude to others for 3 years of your life. And I think a lot of people miss that. They don't think that the experience is worth the time that they spend out here, because they see it as a sacrifice. But I saw it more as an investment. And so, because it is an investment, it's something that you're investing into mainly for yourself, but also an investment into other people. And, this duty taught me a lot about that, about the law of compensation, because if you know about the law of compensation, you know that you can never truly ever give anything away. It always comes back to you in some way from some source. And so, investing time into other people, helping them develop their potential through your talents is one of the main ways that you're going to be able to find success out here, because contrary to popular belief, this is a people business. What does that mean? That means that you are dealing with human lives. And if you can keep that at the forefront of your mind, then you know that this is a business where people help people. And the thing that you should know about the most, if that's the case, is you should have people knowledge. You should know how people function, how people think, how people relate their thoughts, their emotions, and what will eventually help people break out of their paradigm, out of that mental prison that they're in, that's keeping them from getting the results that they want in their life. And if you can do that for them, then you're going to be highly successful. But you won't know how to do it for them unless you know how to do it for yourself first. And so one of the things that I recommend while you're out here and how you're going to be able to find success is, number one, get to know yourself more. Embark on a self-development process that you implement in your life on a daily. And then study. Study yourself. Study the mind. Study about people. And eventually, you'll get so good at being you that other people will want to be just like you. And that is the secret to success. I think maybe in any business where you're selling a service or product, is people gotta trust you, man. People gotta look up to you, because I don't think that anyone buys anything from a lesser person. I think that if anyone buys anything, it's because they look up to that person, and perhaps buying that service or that product will somehow, some way, in the customer's, client's, or applicant's mind, help them get a little closer to your level of success. And so with that, I'm going to end this podcast. I hope you guys got something from it. If you did, like, share, leave a comment. Let me know what else you'd like me to talk about, and I'll do whatever I can to help you guys out.